To replace the throwback canvas, start with the throwback frame sitting on top of the canvas, bottom side facing up. Now, we'll take the cables and thread them into and through the loops that run on both sides of the canvas. The next step is to pull the ball end of the cables through the plastic flaps. So now I've moved the top to kind of a fully open position, sort of resting on the back side to give me a little more access. Gives me some slack in the cable. The next step is to take the cable and route it through the hole in this tab that's on the canvas. So I gently grab the cable, feed it to the hole from the back here, or from the inside rather, and then I actually just use my pliers and push it through. Now you take you're going to flip this tab down like so, take the ball, push it in there and pull it forward, and you should hear it kind of snap into place like so. From here you can take your trim button and put it back in the hole as a retainer for this cable. So now we're going to tuck these long tabs into the center tube here. Once we do that, we're going to start putting these 17 tabs into the front header. Now we're going to take these tabs along the front of the canvas, and we're going to tuck them behind these tension tabs that are running along the header. And what we'll do is start in the corner, pull the canvas up and around the corner of the frame. So we'll start here with the corners. Just pull the canvas around the corner there, take the tab, insert it down there beyond that tensioning bar, and pull it back. Let me show you again. Push it down there beyond that tensioning bar, and pull it back. Now that the canvas is installed, we can see we have our tabs inserted into the slot over the slots. What we want to do now is we want to bend these tensioning tabs backward toward the header a little bit. You want to bend it approximately half the distance of straight up to the plastic. So in this case, we're probably going to bend it back about 1.5 millimeters. So you just want to take a suitable punch and a hammer, place it right on that tab, and give it a couple swift hits. I prefer to do just a little bit at a time. It's easier to do a little bit more than a little bit less after you've done it. So you repeat that procedure. It may not be a bad idea to have some gloss black touch-up paint, because you probably will break the paint surface when you're bending these back. So the next step is going to be securing the back of the canvas to the rear of the frame. We're going to do this by first take these tabs, kind of bend them up so the frame is really sitting on the canvas, not on the plastic so much. In the next step, we're going to attach the rear of the canvas to the frame itself. And what we're going to do is we're going to start at the corners. We're going to pull the canvas up around the corner like so. And then we'll begin tucking the tabs into these slots. The first one is a little tricky. So when you're pulling these tabs into the frame, you'll notice bend it down a little bit and then shove it back through, and then what you're going to want to do from the other side is you're actually going to want to lift up on that tab a little bit just to make sure that it's locked to the frame itself. So yeah. work it down, and they'll tend to, as you work along, they'll tend to pop themselves into place for you. So what we're going to do here is we're going to attach this flap to the bar. Now, attaching the flap is pretty important. If you were to pull this too tight and then wrap it over, what you'll end up with is canvas that's too tight. So from the outside of the Jeep, when you look at it, you'll see the canvas has a significant dip right along this bar, and we don't want that. If you don't pull it tight enough and you were to simply wrap it under there, well, now the canvas will be loose and it'll tend to flap in the wind. So what I have found works for me is I use 2 1/4-inch drive, 1/4-inch sockets. I use the thick end as a spacer. So what I do is I place one of the sockets just inside, a few inches inside of the end of the flap. And the other one, maybe I place around 8 or 10 inches down, like so. And that's giving me consistent spacing between the bar and the canvas. For this first one, you're going to want to hold the socket in place. I'm pulling the canvas up until the socket touches the bar. There's my spacing. The edge, the end of the fabric now I've wrapped around. I pull the socket out and I move it down maybe another 8 or 10 inches to act as another spacer and get it under the bar. Now again, now you don't have to pull as much because the socket is trapped between the bar and the canvas. So just give it a gentle, even pressure, roll it underneath, roll it all the way around to where you began. Now you're going to do the same thing here with this socket. Let's zoom in just a little bit. We're going to apply, I make sure that the canvas isn't stuck between the 2 sockets, between my 2 spacers. Give it a gentle pull, wrap it around, tuck it, and then work my way down. And there you have it. So here we have the top flipped over, looking from left to right, and you can see it's nice and flat all the way across. And that's what we want. Now at this point, the top is on the bench. It looks great. We're going to put the trim piece back on, put the screws in, and then once it's installed on the Jeep, it'll be nice and flat. So from here, we place our trim piece on, run our 5 self-tapping screws in, and we're ready to go.